That's how this whole crazy incident began, with just a single gunshot shot in the air in a parking lot of a bar and lounge in Tampa, Florida, very close to Busch Gardens Tampa, actually. But this is how the incident peaked, resulting in damage to the police vehicles like this. Wow. And watch the full police video to see how and where this whole incident ended. It only was about 10 to 15 minutes long, but still, it's kind of interesting. I'll then follow up with some commentary and analysis of the video. Let's compare notes at the end to see if we agree or disagree. And of course, feel free to leave comments below.
Do we have an offense? 76, as of right now, it sounded like it was a 41 in the parking lot. One shot was fired. Don't know where it went. Went around the side of the building. Another shot was fired before they took off. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like anything to hit right now. And we stop in 40th and 3-2. Just on the stop here, dude.
Hey, put the windows down!
Unit 10-3.
Hands out! Hands out of the car!
He's going to be 10-0.
Alright. Hands out of the car!
The driver or the passenger? Passenger.
Alright. Hey, hey!
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Where's he at? I can't see.
Back in the car! Back in the car! Back in the car!
Southbound on 40th.
Let's go!
Tampa, down to 14 pitches, visual approach, 1 mile.
Don't get too close.
I didn't get any.
Unit 1034, check on the officers. Southbound on 40th, passenger. Looks like they're moving.
1034. Yeah, we're gonna go call there. No one's hit.
It's all yours. Alright, 10-4. Southbound on 40th. Passing 26 out.
I'm in pursuit. Charge is going to be 24 on Leo. Traffic is light, road conditions are dry. Speeds approximately 80 miles an hour. Southbound 40th. Going to be looking to go. Say bye.
Stop here at Any other units responding southbound 40th, block 40th entirely. And nobody come from the south on the southbound lanes. Nobody come from the south.
Turn the siren off!
Hey, driver! Driver! Come out of the car with your hands up! Driver, come out! Driver, face away! Face away from the back up! Back up! Keep backing up!
Drivers out, suspect still in vehicle.
Female, go to your left! Driver, left! That's right! Go to your left! Go to your left! 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 Stop! Back up! Back up! Keep backing up!
Trying to get a look on the passenger. Brad, he was trying to hold you over here.
Now that you've seen the entire police footage, let's just quickly summarize where all these events took place. So, obviously, I am in Florida, zooming in on the Tampa area here. And it all starts really in Illusions Bar and Lounge here, which is right next to Busch Gardens Tampa Bay. And really the second point of interest here is right here, East 32nd Avenue and North 40th Street. That's where the shootout occurred. And then the final arrest and stop for the driver was at East Columbus Drive and North 40th Street. So if you look at this in totality here, this entire distance to drive takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, that car was speeding, going about 80 miles per hour apparently at times. And that's about 4.7 miles or just roughly 8 kilometers. And so, yeah, there are 3 major stops here, and that summarizes that entire event and that crazy shootout. So let's get into the first location here, Illusions Bar and Lounge, and let's look at that in 3D. let's try to recreate what happened here. So this is where it all began. Of course, I'm in Google Street Maps view here. This is taken during the daytime. This picture is actually taken December 2022. But if you compare this Illusions building here to the CCTV footage, which I assume was taken by Illusions as well, you see the suspect and his companion walking from right to left in this parking lot. And this is where the suspect, now deceased, fires his gun in the air, prompting what I assume is the first call to police to respond. Now, I also read that they also were driving in a gray Kia Soul, which I assume was probably parked in this parking lot or in a neighboring parking lot. So they get into that vehicle and they go down East Busch Boulevard here and take a right here. Now, as you can see here, this is going to be East Busch Boulevard and North 40th Street. So taking a right, this takes us south, right here, North 40th Street south. And this is when police start catching up to the suspects. Somewhere along this street here, they do make contact and they do make visuals on that particular Kia Soul. And so for about 3.7 miles or about 5 or 6 kilometers, they pursue this vehicle, and a lot of it's surveillance from the air as well, but they don't really try to stop the vehicle based on what I've read until about 3.7 miles later here when they reach East 32nd Avenue and North 40th Street. So I'm not going to actually drive all the way there. We're going to have to skip and fast forward there. So continuing south on North 40th Street, or about 10 minutes driving later, just shortly before 11 p.m., the Kia Soul and the suspects, followed by police vehicles, they continue down this road. Of course, we're in the daytime. This happens at night, and there's aircraft monitoring the situation as well. They keep going down this street here. Now, if you notice, this is where the footage, the video footage matches up with Google Street Maps here. So the police vehicles stop about where this 45-mile-per-hour speed limit sign is. So there's actually 3 police cars that I see, 1 marked unit and 2 unmarked units. The marked unit appears to stop about right here, the unmarked unit here, and another unmarked unit there. And there are at least 3 law enforcement officers or more in those vehicles. Of course, the suspects are more or less at this intersection here of North 40th Street and East 32nd Avenue. Let's just go there to verify that. Yep, this is East 32nd Avenue. So the suspects are here. They get out. At least, I'm sorry, the passenger gets out and then engages with gunfire. So I've turned this view around here. Imagine there are 3 police vehicles here. 1, 2, 3. And then the suspects are here. The driver stays in the vehicle. And then the gunfire exchange begins. And that's what you see in the police video. So continuing on from here, if we keep going south here, at this point, we assume that the suspect in the passenger side is mortally wounded, because now for our last stop after the shootout, the suspect vehicle goes about 0.9 miles or about 1.5, 1.6 kilometers, which is about 2-3 minute car drive, continuing south here on the same street until they reach about this location here. So if you compare this house with the one in the video and this gas station and that gas station, this appears to be the spot where the driver stops about this area here. She walks backwards to where this little bicycle symbol is. And of course, the law enforcement vehicles are back here giving her instructions. And of course, she goes to her right instead of her left. You know, that's where that part of the video is occurring. So yeah, this is the location based on what I could gather. So this would be East Columbus and North 40th Street. So in this intersection here. So this is what it looks like. Google Street Maps view in the daytime as of October 2022. And of course, this incident happened June 2023. So it's a pretty good match, but this is what it looks like. Now that we got the high-level summary out of the way, and you can better visualize what actually happened, let's talk about what happened in this shootout in particular, which of course happens at the felony stop on North 40th Street and East 32nd Avenue just before 11 p.m. on that Thursday, June 29th, 2023. I've played this part of the video, police video, over and over again in regular speed and slow motion. This is what I could determine. First, the law enforcement officers appear to be grouped in 3 vehicles, as you can see here, 2 unmarked and 1 marked vehicle, supported, of course, by at least 1 air unit. You notice in the still image that the front marked LEO vehicle is about 1 to 1.5 car lengths behind the suspect's car. The other officers converge on the front LEO vehicle for cover. 2 officers are on the driver's side and 1 officer is on the passenger side behind the vehicle for cover. They appear to be in good tactical position here and well covered from bullets. If my math is correct here, 1 to 1.5 car lengths here is about 7 to 8 yards or about 7 meters distance from the police to the passenger side shooter. Now, I'm not a police officer, but 7 to 8 yards seems like a standard distance on the shooting range that LEOs would practice with us. So this puts them in good position to actually succeed in this situation. Now, if you're our bad guy, take a look at his tactical position. He gets out of the passenger side vehicle and basically has no cover. He just starts shooting. He didn't even bother to get behind the passenger side door. It does appear that he looks like he had a death wish. But from my analysis, it appears that the suspect, at least from his point of view, got his first shot off to the left rear of the vehicle. The suspect shots, numbers 2, 3, and 4, he shoots to his right. And then finally, that one last shot from the suspect's point of view is to the left again. Now, what's interesting here is this last shot from the officers coming from the passenger side rear of the LEO vehicle appears to be on target because it kind of looks like the suspect staggers or falls back. And it definitely, he doesn't get off any more shots, the suspect, right? So he then gets back into the vehicle. And of course, the driver then takes off going south again on that same road. Of course, it's impossible to really know which LEO shots actually hit the suspect and which one was actually fatal. Now, one more thing I'd like to point out here, we have vehicle footage and audio from at least one of the LEO cars in which the officers are able to talk calmly and coolly. Even after that high adrenaline shootout, they're able to communicate really good information here to other members of the response team.
Traffic is light, road conditions are dry, speeds approximately 80 miles an hour. Southbound 40th, going to be looking to go.
I would guess they're either former military who've been under fire before and or have served as LEOs long enough to train for such highly dangerous situations. Anyway, kudos for the courage and calm of those LEOs engaged in that firefight. I think what also worked to the officers' advantage here was that there seems to be sparse traffic, pedestrian traffic that night, and hopefully the officers had a clear backdrop to shoot against in order to avoid any kind of collateral and civilian casualties. So that's a wrap for this video. What did you think of this incident? Let me know in the comments below. And once again, thank you to all the new subscribers and all the positive comments. You are much appreciated, and I will see you in the next Florida-centric video. Bye, everyone.
For more awesome content, like and subscribe now.